You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What's up, family? Welcome in to A2D Radio. Little week one preview show for you, not only for the Eagles, but around the NFL. And we're going to have a ton to talk about tonight, leading up into tomorrow. It's officially Christmas Eve, so the presents are ready under the tree. They're getting there. Parents are putting them under, right? And hopefully you got that PS5. You know what I mean? Hopefully we got the PS5 tomorrow and not a gadget spinner. Right, like we talked about during draft day. So hopefully it's a PS5 under the tree tomorrow. Excited to talk to you about it. Every show we are brought to you by Art Doc, Making Yours. That's Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, Michael Chromiak, Steve Rochelle, Jimmy Smith, the family out there join us. Let's talk some Eagles. Let's talk some around the NFL. And we're going to have a little poll question, but we're going to do a little score predictions. I mean, I know we've given them throughout the week, but, you know, the night before, how do you not? I mean, how do you not give another one? You know, I talked about it last night, and every week, every show, it's gotten further and further apart. I'm scared for myself now to jump in here and say maybe like, 65 to, you know what I mean? This is where we're getting to. So we don't want to get too deep too far off the reservation there, but I am feeling good about tomorrow. A lot
of circumstances have changed too, Tom. A lot of circumstances over the last, say, 6 hours. So score predictions could very well be very different for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, they could. So we're going to get into score predictions. Then we're going to want a sleeper player to game from the family out there, and then as well, just a guy that, you know, not an obvious, but you know, one of the better players, obviously, as a player to game too with your score predictions. So we'll have some fun with that as well. And our poll question, brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK Services.com. Find them on the web, AmbuckServices.com. 20% off. Tell the boys from A2D Radio sent you. The Gutter Guards of South Jersey. All right, they do everything. So you just call them, 20% off. You can find out what else they do. That's how that works too. You can just do it as simple as that. The Eagles will win without Miles Sanders and Derek Barnett tomorrow. Agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where we're live, and everywhere you get your podcast. You can find us there as well. Like, subscribe, follow, chime in tonight. Let's talk about it. Should be, you know, I expect a lot of excitement tonight. I would assume a lot of excitement. I know we've done a lot of shows this week, but, you know, there's nothing better than the start of the NFL season. There really isn't around this country. I just feel like, and especially here in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? It is big time here, and we're excited because, you know, I know some people don't want to talk about it, but it's a team with a lot of expectations and a lot of one-year expectations. All right, that nobody wants to get into yet because you sound like Debbie Downer, right? But this is a team that is built to compete right now. I can't tell you what they're going to be built to compete like next year. I don't think anybody can. Nobody has a crystal ball, right? But we can all tell you they're built to compete right now. So excited to get into that and talk a little bit about the loss of Miles Sanders. We discussed a little bit about it last night, that nobody really thought he was going to get a heavy workload of any stretch, even if he did play. So, you know, now we're here, and this is something that I kind of expected a little bit if he wasn't 100% for the long haul. So now everything we talked about this offseason, boys, Devontae Freeman, about another veteran running back. Here she is, right? Here she is. So to the poll, the Eagles will win without Miles Sanders and Derek Barnett. Agree or disagree? Listen, they're just a superior team than Washington is. You know what I mean? They just are. I mean, Miles Sanders and Derek Barnett, you know, granted, we know what Miles' impact is here in Philadelphia, all right, and what he means to this football team, especially when you talk about the guys behind him. But then, right, Derek Barnett's sort of been a guy who's just been inconsistent. So, but again, this is a football team that's still deep. It's still loaded, and you're going against a team that won 3 games last year. And did they upgrade a little bit? Sure, a little bit. You know what I mean? Their defensive front's good, but they're not. This isn't a good football team. If you're a playoff team, you go beat them without Miles Sanders. You understand what I'm saying, guys? Like, if you're a good football team and a playoff team, and what we expect you to be, Miles Sanders shouldn't keep you from winning a game like tomorrow. That's my thoughts on it. I understand it's a big loss, and it's even bigger loss because you don't know what you have behind him. But at the end of the day, you still should be able to go down there and beat Washington tomorrow. I just don't see how you don't, unless you just shoot yourself in the foot a million times, or all these extra things off the field start to catch up to this football team. Maybe that's the only way. I don't see how they don't go down here and win this game tomorrow. Boys, let us know. Everybody out there join us. Let us know. Chrome, Rye, Jimmy, Steve, everybody's going to get into it. Whoever wants to go next, the Eagles will win without Miles Sanders and Derek Barnett. Agree or disagree?
I'll go on that one. I definitely think got it. I mean, if you really think about it, don't win without them. What does that say? What's left of this football team? If you really think about that, it's a division matchup. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, it's going to be a blowout. Oh, it's going to be close." I mean, I really think it's going to be like 31-21. They're going to have a 2-possession win game. The only real question is what's going to happen in the trenches. That's really going to determine which way this game swings. We already know Washington has a great defensive front, and we have questions on our offensive line, and we have a great defensive front. So really, I think whoever's defensive line is going to go off this game is going to really determine the fact. And I really like the fact that Josh Sweat is getting that chance. He's had a lot of great looks in preseason camp. The last few years, injuries has kind of slowed him down. The last few years hasn't really been able to get on the field as much as he wants to. It's this opportunity now. Barnett's down. This is your time to shine. Start the season off and make sure they don't give him a reason to give reps back to Barnett at this point in time. So we'll see how that plays out. I think offensive line wise, we should be okay as long as we don't have too many penalties or any more unforeseen injuries as far as at least going into this game. So, like I said, 31-21. I think we get 2 possessions. I think Carson will have a nice game. We'll see what happens with the running game. I think. Losing Miles Hurts, I kind of gets on more on the bounce thing. I think it's so close where I don't think Washington is really going to have a chance to kind of really load up more defensively to say we're going to concentrate more on the pass now. I just think we're so balanced that way. And also, I think it gives more opportunity for Boston Scott and Clement to get some of these swing passes out of the backfield too. So we'll see what happens. Miles Sanders' injury does hurt us no matter what anyone says, but I guess we'll have to see when once that ball gets kicked in the air tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. But again, this is a football team that we should go down there and beat. Steve's still on the same point. So, Jimmy, what do you say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say exactly, Tom. I 100% agree with the words that just came out of your mouth. If you're primed to be this Super Bowl caliber team, and not even to go that far, just this division winner, this team that's supposed to go into the playoffs, then you need to be able to beat a team like the Washington football team, a team that doesn't even have a name, okay? And they don't even have really a starting running back. J.D. McKissick is at the top of their depth chart. I mean, you got Peyton Barber and Antonio Gibson, Bryce Love. Okay, we had the 3rd best rush defense, right? We talked about this last night. Then we need to be hammering it home with them, make them one-dimensional, beat that ass. I love what he said about Josh Sweat. Kind of what Greg just said. Is Derek Barnett really someone that we're like, oh, man, that sucks? Hargrave, I think, is a bigger loss on that defensive line. But if you want me to give who I think is going to be my little sleeper, it's J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. That's who I think we need an X receiver with Alshon being out, and not only just for this season right here. We need him to replace Alshon so we can get rid of him next year. So I'd really like to see a lot from him this week. I think it's going to be a more pass-heavy game now, especially if Lane's out. I'm scared for Carson. Lane, please, God, be okay. But I agree with you. We should be able to beat their ass without any of them, even if Lane's out. But it's a closer game, though. If we, you know what I mean? If he is out, Jesus, then it's much closer.
Yeah, that could be a blow early in the morning. You know what I mean? We're hoping that no more follow, but I mean that one's still up in the air. I mean, at least he's made the trip with them, which makes you think that he's going to do everything in his power to play, but not a good start in terms of the injury front again for this football team. Chrome, Rye, whoever wants to go next to the poll.
Go ahead, Chrome.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree to the poll. I don't think my circumstances changed in terms of who's going to win this football game. I think you guys kind of touched on it, but I do agree the battle that they're going to have to overcome is going to be at the line. They have a really strong defensive front, all first-round draft picks. And even when Lane is in the lineup, Lane has struggled against Washington in games on the offensive line. So that does concern me a little bit. Obviously, you want to have Lane in this game because we're going to need everybody to protect Carson. And I think the bigger blow, I agree. I think Steve was spot on. This is a chance for Josh Sweat to come in now and prove his worth. Give a chance for all the people that have been screaming for this guy to get reps. This is your time now. This is where we're going to see what we have. So I think it's a really pivotal game for him. But I do think the Miles loss is going to hurt more. I think not going out and getting that veteran running back immediately biting us in the backside right off the bat is a big deal. And maybe, hopefully this is just kind of a 1 week issue. If not, we have to reevaluate. They have to go out and they have to see what their options are. But I still think the Eagles win this game. I don't want to say huge, but I think they win this game decisively. I have it somewhere in the realm of 27 or 28 to 17, something along those lines. I don't think they have enough offensive firepower. I still don't believe in Haskins. I know the organization, or at least the brass, the top in the organization, believe in him. But I think he has a lot to prove, and I don't think this is going to be the week that he's going to get off on that foot to start doing that. So, if I'm looking for my sleeper guy, I like J-Jaw, by the way. I think that's a good pick. But I'm sticking with my guy because I just think he's a guy who's under the radar for the time being, and I think he's going to have a big impact on this football team, and that's Greg Ward. I think Greg Ward's going to have opportunities. He could catch 6, 7, 8 balls tomorrow for 60, 70 yards and pull a TD. I just think that there's so much confidence that Carson has built with Greg Ward from having this step in last year as a wide receiver one. And with where he's at on the depth chart, he's primed to have a really solid, really good year on this football team. So that's my guy I'm going to be looking at to have a big game tomorrow.
Good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. It really is because nobody really wants to talk about him, but all he did was make plays last year when we need him to, and nobody else was on the field. So I mean,
we did talk about him last night though, because I'm with you, Chrome. I love that. Great call, man. Good one.
Not talked about enough the role that he's going to have to fill on this football team
for sure.
What I mean? So it's a big role to fill.
What'd someone say, Tom? Remember you called him out for it because they're like, Greg Ward shouldn't even be on the team or something. We're like, wait, what the fuck, dude? He's starting. Like, yeah, he's on the team, dude. I can't remember what the statement was, but yeah,
if Greg Ward hasn't earned a position on this football team and hasn't earned an opportunity to step on the field and be a contributor, not just a guy who's at the back end of the depth chart, but an actual position to make an impact on the field, then you're never going to prove to those people then that he deserves an opportunity. He did everything he could. He was a key component to making that push to get into the playoffs last year. Without Greg Ward, this Carson has no weapons to throw to, and we do not get into the playoffs last year. So any of those people who were naysayers on Greg Ward, go back and watch clips from last year, and if you don't see it, you're friggin' blind. I don't know what else I can tell you.
Tell him.
Yeah, nothing else on the outside either. So last year, last year there was nothing else on the outside.
Absolutely.
So right to the poll question, the Eagles will win without Miles Sanders and Derek Barnett. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to be fine. I mean, to Jimmy's point, we were talking about it last night, the loss of these two guys may bring the score a little bit closer, but I think we can all agree. We discussed it at length yesterday to where, when it pertains to Miles Sanders, even if he was playing, none of us said last night that, we all agreed that if we saw him, it was going to be a very limited format with him, very limited, attempts, touches, snaps, runs, to where it was only going to be a small percentage of it anyway. We also talked about, I'll bring it up again, that, in the past handfuls of seasons, the run attack has been very, very little compared to the pass attack, especially in September. It seems like, especially when Doug is trying to feel out the offense, he does it more in the passing attack than the run game. And I'll remind everyone last year, too, that while we had Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard, we talked about it last night, week 1, literally a year ago against the football team, Darren Sproles was our go-to running back last year, and we did fine. So I think it would have been more of a feel-out game from the running core anyway. And also, everything they've done this offseason has said, and I know somebody said, Boston Scott's going to be fine, Devontae Freeman stinks. But either way, we talked about it. This would have been an opportunity where you bring in a free agent just to bring, if anything, just insurance. But they didn't do that with Fournette. They didn't do it with Freeman. They didn't do it with McCoy. There's 100 guys they could have done it, and they didn't do it. So they clearly believe in Scott and Clement and this kid Huntley, who they brought in like 30 seconds ago. So I don't really think we're going to see a lot of Huntley. Like somebody said, maybe Huntley will get some plays. I doubt it, just because he's only been in the building for a handful of days. But I think at the end of the day, this game was going to be won and lost in the passing attack. Carson has majority of his weapons, way more weapons than, like we talked about before, than he had for a majority of last year. And I think it's going to be all about that, especially when you consider, you look on the Washington side of the football field to where they have a ton of injuries in the secondary. Their top 2 corners out. So you look at both of that. I think it's going to be a big day for Zach Ertz. As far as my players of the game, I'll wait a little bit and before we fully dive into it. Mm-hmm. But I never once believed that this game was going to be based off of the run attack. And we kind of briefly talked about it on Wednesday, to where if you looked at the 3 guys, Lane, Miles, and obviously Derek Barnett, the 3 guys that we thought would either be out or questionable, I think we can all agree as far as ranking them of importance. I think we would put Lane Johnson 1, which, to your point, Jimmy, we talked about it. It's still up in the air, and we really need him to play. Then followed by Miles, then Barnett. So if Lane doesn't play, we find out, let's say 11 o'clock tomorrow, he's not playing, then then I go to maybe a little concerned, or not a little, I become concerned, just because we've seen how much that offensive line struggles without Lane Johnson on the right side. But right now, I'm going to act as if he's playing. He was playing all in practice. It seems that if he wasn't a part of this, injury report with Barnett and Sanders, to where they just listed them out, 4 hours ago, I believe they think he's playing, but we'll have to wait until tomorrow. But no, I don't think it really changes the outcome of this game, just because Washington isn't equipped really to compete with us. And if they are, well, then we have to reevaluate how we look at both teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Prism says final score, Eagles 24, Washington football team incompetence.
Yeah.
The final score. I mean, I would love for that to be the case. And then if you do wake up to no Lane, that's troublesome, but you still should be better than this football team. But yeah, I didn't think Miles was touching the ball a lot tomorrow anyway. We talked about it last night on the show. I mean, I was thinking 10 touches, and I thought that was like low, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I mean, they're not gonna beat them up. They never beat running backs up early in the year. So they're all about November, December guys. So
Carson
I really thought he was gonna have a limited role. It just hurts that they know ahead now. They know they don't have the game plan for him. Mm-hmm. So that makes it a little tougher. But guess what though? For losing him, right? You have supposedly real good players on the outside, right? Yeah. Game changers on the outside. So that makes up for it a little bit. Where if you would have lost them last year with what you had, you're dead. You know what I mean? You're dead. You wrap it up because you can't at that point. But you know what I mean? Right now, if there's a week to not have them, I would pick this week. Like if I could hand pick a week in the season with no Miles Sanders, I would say, it could be week 1 versus Washington. You know what I mean? If I can hand pick it, I could be wrong. Right? I could be wrong. Or, what usually happens here in Philly, I got a weird feeling like Boston Scott's going to have a really good day tomorrow. And then, you know what I mean? And then it's going to be really, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Like, if they're going to be talking about him taking his job. This is what happened.
It's bound to happen at some point. I know you beat the drum a lot, Tom. Ryan knows that I have since last year, and this is probably one of the last ones going to mention it, because once week 1 starts, last year's in the past. But I think that there was a big missed opportunity not bringing Jordan Howard back. I think Jordan Howard was the perfect complement to what Miles' skills were. And I think that Jordan Howard's going to go down to Miami now and have a really strong year if he could stay healthy. Now, we know that the health issue was a main thing here as well, and the last couple of years in Chicago too. But I think that that's kind of exposed. And Tom, you're spot on that's where the difference is. Whether it's 5 carries, 10 carries, or whatever it is, snaps on the field, The fact that now they can game plan knowing 100% that he is not in the Eagles' game plan does change the dynamic of tomorrow's game. So one thing I kind of wish they would have maybe waited till tomorrow to make that call.
Yeah, I just don't know how you lie when a guy doesn't get on a train. You know what I mean? Like how do you lie? Like, yeah, he's on a train, and the beat reporter's like, I didn't see Miles, and they're like, he's on.
It was that guy with the jersey on right there.
You just start sending him in like groups and everything, so that he was in the middle of all those guys right there.
Just send a decoy. Have
Decoy,
doubles, but just for train. Just for train.
That's right. Yeah. Just have them put a hood up. Have like a hood up. Hey, they're supposed to have a mask anyway. How the hell are you gonna tell?
Hi, I'm Donovan McNabb, and I'm here from McDonald's. You guys ever see that Always Sunny's episode?
Yeah, that's the key factor though, Tom, is that it would have been nice if they would have had the game plan for him and then make adjustments in the morning or tomorrow pregame. Talking about the Washington football team.
I'll tell you this too, and granted, this is if we win the game. If we win the game, this could end up being a blessing in disguise in a way, because we've talked about it and I said it, 25, 30 seconds ago, to where, we always had that kind of fear at the back of our heads on what this running back core would look like if Sanders got out, especially when we heard bell cow, and we just knew the injury history. It wasn't an extensive injury history, but we know he was banged up last year. This is going to give us, against, to Tom's point, a team where if you had to point at the schedule and say, okay, if you're going to miss your leading back and your go-to guy, who would it be? We'd probably say Washington early in the year. This will give us as fans, and I would also expect the organization just in game format, some clarity to say, hey, are we good enough without Sanders if this were to happen again? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, listen, I want to say like the hopeful side of me that would say, hey, maybe if we get the win, but the running backs struggle, maybe this would, cause them to go out and pick up Freeman, just as a low end deal, just for the, for insurance. I don't know if it would get to that point, but you never know. You know what I mean? Like there's been other things in the past going all the way back to 2017 to where when you started seeing injuries early in the year with the running backs, that caused them to go out and get a Jai. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, I know it's completely different situations, but like Tom has said, this isn't a retooling year. This is a we need to win right now year, because you have so much money that's just sitting there waiting for us next season, to where we obviously see the solidified window. I hope they would as well.
Yeah, but they don't. I mean, they don't, because they don't want to spend any more money. So, like, even $1.5 million is too rich for them right now, and that's fine. That's fine. But I just listen. I can like Boston Scott a little bit, and Corey Clement is Corey Clement, but I can't. We talked about this ad nauseum. Like, if this guy goes down or misses a significant amount of time, are we okay? Are we okay long term? Well, we're going to find a little taste of that tomorrow, but like my confidence level for tomorrow was probably like a 9, and it's never a 9 versus Washington, but it's probably like a 7.5 now. Like, we still should go in and win that game, but now there's like that little concern because this is one of your bigger weapons. So how do you make up for it? Now, you should be able to make up for it with the outside, like we talked about. You have 2 really good tight ends, should be good there, right? Now the offensive line issue, right? We already know about, guys, right? So now it's going to be interesting how well Jason Peters play tomorrow, right? It's a lot of unknowns when we really expected to come into this year with a lot more knowns, and that's where we're at right now. So let me ask you guys your confidence level. I just told you mine. It was at a 9. Now that was 7.5, but it's still very confident. I still think we should go down there and win this game. But it's still a division rival, and you have respect for it a little bit. Boys, want to go? Steve, Jimmy, everybody, give us yours. Chrome, Rye, and everybody out there chiming in, give us yours. Your confidence level before the Miles news, since you got the Miles news, and then say you wake up tomorrow and there's no Lane. I want to add the 3rd in there. Because now I'm going down to about I might be at it like a 6 now, because I don't know who we're blocking. And that's a 6 is generous. I should be at like a 4.5, 5.
Well,
but I'll give him like a 6. So
yeah, I'm with you. Before as I was on air before we went and got the news that Miles was out, I was with you, Tom. I was bad at 9. It wasn't. Even though being Washington, the recent history has shown that we could beat this team. So much changeover on them too. That's another thing that we also have to take into effect. Just so many moving parts in that. They haven't really had time to really kind of get things together. But after the injury, I think I would have to feel like being a 7 right about now, because that's a big thing. We know that he's having an impact both in the running game and the passing game, so that's kind of a thing that kind of hurts us. Now we lose, we don't have Lane tomorrow. I'm with you. I'm going a little bit lower. It's going to be a 5 because that Washington defensive front is not anything to play with. Even Croman mentioned it earlier. He hasn't even played particularly well against Washington over the last few years either. So it's one of these things where if he's not there, we better be doing a lot of 3-step drops and getting it out of his hand. If we're passing the ball, because we can't,
absolutely
cannot.
So you go down though. You're right with me then. So we're all around the same. Me and you were right on the same page. Jimmy, what was your confident level yesterday? Now finding out the Miles news, and then if you wake up tomorrow for Christmas Day and you find out that one of them presents is Cole and it's
tree's on fire
playing, trees, get the extinguisher. The whole house is burning, right? Or at least we're close to it. So where does your confidence level go from there?
Well, we're talking about confidence, not excitement, right? So I'm still excited. We're all, we all feel this. We're all going to be pumped up tomorrow. We're all, but what we're talking about here, obviously, is confidence. Going into this game, I thought, pretty much a 9 going into this. Like, we got this, man. We got this. We're going to whoop that ass. Then seeing Miles go down, it hit me for a little bit, jolted me. But, we spent all last night, 2 hours of this talking about this. Was Carson Wentz going to throw for over 300 yards? Was this going to be more of a passing game? You hit the nail on the head with the, getting less than 10 carries if he even plays, because, we're not going to rough him up. Darren Sproles, great point by Ryan, being all that stuff. So I think I dropped maybe to an 8. But if you wake me up tomorrow and it's Lane Johnson, I think that I'm a little scared, because we have talked about nothing but how good that defensive line is. Who cares if their secondary is banged up? If they're getting to Carson, doesn't matter. If he doesn't have time, who cares? So it's very important we protect him. I don't know who's gonna play where. Is Matt Pryor gonna have to play right tackle? Because I don't trust my Lotto over there. I don't think Driscoll's a tackle. I mean, he's played tackle at Auburn, but I would rather have him, Driscoll, at right guard and then Pryor at right tackle. But then that scares the shit out of me. I mean, you're very scary over at the right tackle if he's out. So they will feast in that kind of maybe a 6.5. I still think we should beat them, but it's going to be a little bit more of those like I might have a heart attack. You might never see me again kind of games. So, I'm a little concerned.
Well, let's hope we don't have that, Jimmy. Let's hope we see a lot more of you, Jimmy. I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. We're always on the edge of our seats. Like,
why would this game be any different? You know what I mean?
Yep. Division rival.
Would it be any different?
Yep, you mentioned it earlier. It's division rival. It's going to be tough. I loved what Chrome said. I was thinking earlier, 34-17, but then after that injury I saw earlier, I'm like, maybe, and then if it's Lane, maybe like a 28, and then without Lane, 24-16 kind of game. So interesting matchup here. But if he's out, it's going to be much more interesting. So I'm not as confident, but I still think we should win.
Chrome, your 3 confidence levels?
Yeah, you know what? Guys, it's opening week. There's no preseason. There are injury concerns all over the board, just even beyond these guys. So with that, I think my confidence level was an 8. It's hard for me to come in with a 9 or above any year in week 1, because I want to see it on the field first. So I would say it's an 8. And although we're talking about it, and I said it in my opening that I don't think it really changed my score too much. It closed the gap a little bit, but I still think we win decisively in the ballpark of a 10 or 11 point win. So, I would say 8 to start. I'm probably around a 7 now without having Miles and Barnett. And honestly, just because Lane has struggled against this team anyway. And honestly, my score and my confidence factor that I had already had was coming into this game not knowing whether or not for sure he was going to play. And I still think that we have concerns with Jason Peters. Jason Peters, we know that he can play the position, but he spent almost the entire camp playing guard. So now he's got to get his mind frame back into, overplaying left tackle. if I'm being honest, it doesn't. Even if I wake up and Lane's not playing, it doesn't kill my confidence factor that much. I was at an 8. I'd bump down to maybe a 7, 7.5, and I still would say it's a solid 7 then. Instead of kind of wavering in between, I think I stick around a 7. I still think this team wins this football game. I think Carson's going to have to make a few more plays, and I agree with you guys. I'm really concerned with what that right side is going to look like. But, hopefully, if we can get a little extra protection, that second-tier protection, if we can get some of those running backs over there to block for Carson, a little bit of extra help there. Carson has to use his legs a little bit. I think we'll be fine. I think there's enough offensive firepower to offset that. To where Carson can get the football out quickly. If with all the skill players in the passing game that we have, that they can't create enough space that Carson can get rid of the football quickly if he's being pressured throughout the game, we got a lot more concerns than just not having Lane Johnson for one game and Miles Sanders for one game. And I would triple down with you, or double and triple down with you guys, in that if I was to pick any week in the year that we're not going to have Miles, Barnett, and Lane, absolutely this is the week. I still think they win this game fine.
And I still do too with the 6.5. I'm not like out on them that they shouldn't win. They still should win even without Lane if God forbid he can't play tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, just because he struggled against them, did Reese Hoskins just break his hand? Oh my God. Sorry.
Was he putting on pants? Was he putting on pants?
No, he got hit by the runner, and now it's a 7-5 game, and he's shaking his wrist.
7-5?
Yeah, they just scored another one because it was a throwing error. So he got caught, and this is never a good time. Sorry. Another injury in Philly sports. That's all it is.
I do want to add in one factor into this, guys, the unknown on Washington's side. And it's only because we haven't seen it on the field, and that's going to be how Haskins does in a Juan Rivera offense. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how how Juan Rivera can maximize what he does have on that field in terms of creating opportunities for them to put points on the board. Because I do like Juan Rivera a lot. I think he was a great head coach hiring for them. I like him more than what Dallas did, more than what the Giants did. I mean, a big turnover in this division in terms of the leadership. And I think of all of them, Washington made the right call for a guy to start to steer their ship the right way. So I'll be very interested to see how that plays out. So that, to me, is the one unknown factor for tomorrow.
Yeah, and I agree with Dominic because my concern goes down. They still should win the game, but just because all the moving parts on the line, I can't afford to lose Lane too. Like, with already Brooks and already Dillard and then Lane, it's like everything comes in threes. Why? We can't have that. We can't have that. And you know what? This is the week I wouldn't want to be without Lane because of their front. You know what I mean? I might pick another week to not have Lane than this one just because I know they can come get you.
Yeah, but he
a
just
lot more bubble screens and quick passes and end arounds and things like that to get away from him. So
consistently, he struggled against Washington.
But Chrome, this is where I think you're missing the boat.
He struggles.
There's a different thing between him struggling and him not being there. There's a huge difference between them.
And I don't disagree.
What's Pryor going to do then?
Yeah, exactly.
But
the
past, point I'm making though is that the point I was making, and you're right. You're absolutely right. It's still a different game. And we talked about the game planning thing, right? Having him on the field and not having him on the field. But that being said, if we have to choose a week that he's not going to be on the field, this is the week because
Lane?
This is the week of all 16 games.
I disagree. Because I think this could easily become a top 5, definitely top 10, front 7 to become. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday and before. Ryan Kerrigan's on the second friggin' line. He's on the second wave. I mean, Ryan Kerrigan, the guy who has made our lives a living hell since he's been in the league, he's not even good enough to be on their first wave. I think honestly, and I see what you're saying. And listen, real quick to just answer the 3 confidence levels. Yesterday before the Miles news, I was about an 8. Then when I heard the Miles news, I went down to like a 7 just because, no disrespect to Miles, but we were talking about before, I didn't think he was really going to have a huge impact in the game. But given as though you see kind of the rust of both sides. Also, when we see rust, I believe, and I think you guys could agree with this as well, that evens the playing field a little bit, especially early without preseason, and then having to go to somebody that's unproven on the line. To me, if we were to lose Lane, my confidence level goes from a 7 down to like a 4.5, to be completely honest with you, because I would say that this would be one of the, I don't want to say one of the worst weeks to lose Lane, but it definitely wouldn't be one of the best, because I'd rather go against the friggin' Bengals or against a front seven that's, a bottom 5 in the league. You know what I mean?
Bengals have actually a good defensive line too.
Dunlap, they made improvements. Yeah.
And Hubbard.
So go ahead.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is for people whose confidence level falls under a 5, to me, if you're falling under a 5, then you can't say, well, I still think they win the game tomorrow, because to me, if you're at 50%, 50-50, they win and they don't, you're hovering around a 5. If you're dropping under a 5, then you're not confident they're going to win the football game tomorrow. And
I disagree.
That's how I measure this.
Because if I didn't think they were going to win tomorrow, I'd have it at 0. My confidence would be 0. You know what I'm saying? If my confidence would be 0, and I'd be saying, okay, the Redskins are going to win, or the football team is going to win. So
I don't even know what the hell to call them. I try to put when I try to type in there Eagles whatever pregame, I don't even know what the fuck to call the football team.
I know.
What do you call it?
WTF, I guess.
Eagles
or WFT. Yeah.
They have a lot of supposed talent up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of assets into talent. Not everything's proven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Gibson isn't CMC.
Yeah,
Haskins isn't Cam Newton.
No, and their D line is, like I said, their D line is talented. But again, it's talented. It's projected to be extremely good. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the Niners front where we've seen it be good, right? Like you know what I mean? Like we know Kerrigan's been good, but he's also on the second line because he's older too, and they spend a lot of assets up front. But again, I mean, and assets have to hit too. So I'm not saying they won't. Like I think Chase Young's a stud. You know what I mean? I think Sweat's a stud. I think Montez Sweat's a stud too. So you know what I mean? And I've always liked Jonathan Allen. So I mean, I think they got studs up there. But again, that's why you play it. So we're going to find out a lot about the inside on our offensive line. We're going to find out a lot about Isaac tomorrow, right? We're going to find out a lot about Pryor tomorrow. We're going to find out about these guys tomorrow on the inside is what we're going to find out about, And we're going to find out if Lane doesn't play. Okay, well, our future lineman, who is it, right? Like who goes over there and can they hold up? So a lot could be really good tomorrow if he didn't play, and it could get ugly. But in terms of getting ugly, like they get after Carson, they beat him up a little bit. I still think we're so good defensively, we should win this game. Like I just think defensively we're that good, we should win this game. This is where a defense got to win you a game if guys get banged up like that. Like if there's no Lane tomorrow, okay, well I consider this a top 10 defense. Well, top 10 defenses, you know why they're top 10? Because they go on the goddamn road and they travel well. That's why they're top 10. Okay, and I've been yelling and screaming about this for years. Top 10s go on the road and they win games for you. Okay, you want to be a Super Bowl team, you can lose these 3 and still go win a game tomorrow. But that's where somebody else needs to step up. Right, so who is it going to be? Who on the defense is the defensive line take the challenge tomorrow? If they lose another guy, right? If Lane's out, now the defensive line's got to take a challenge, right? My big money guys, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, I got to take a challenge. Malik Jackson, that's big money up there, right? So now I got to take out as a personal challenge to go beat you tomorrow. So you look at it like that. Darius Slay, like a new look secondary, they got to take the challenge on them to go down and win a football game. God forbid there's no Lane. That's all, because I think they will put a lot of pressure on us, but we're still a better football team even without Lane Johnson.
And I love that name that you brought up in Malik Jackson, because that's a guy who came in here with a lot of praise, and they thought that was going to be a big move for us last year, and he was out for the year. So this is now he's a guy who's got something to prove coming back in this year, and now with the defensive line now having what some could consider and some not a big injury, you're going to need guys to step up, because you're going to have some depth issues. And I think that Malik Jackson could be one of those guys who sneaks in tomorrow, and he has a big game for this football team.
So let's get to some of the comments, because we got a lot of people firing away. And we got we'll get to the cockroaches. Emery Trailer, CD Lamb, go Cowboys. Good. Hopefully he runs routes better than he does in his backyard. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Cowboys suck.
Yeah, Philly guy. Ron is a defensive guy. So, I mean, but again, hasn't had a lot of time to put in his system there either.
Right.
The way this whole offseason's gone, that's got to be a disadvantage to teams. I'm going to keep running back to that. It has to be some sort of disadvantage to teams. So, Dominic says Lane is a Pro Bowl player and he struggles. Imagine a rookie against his front. Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine anybody against his front, honestly. I don't think anybody here is going to tell you it's going to be, that everything's going to be fine without him, but we tell you that we should still win the game. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. That's going to be a lot tougher than we expected, but we still are the better team.
Yep.
So, where we at? Taylor Bauer says, casting the OU game to the TV and watching you guys on my phone. What a life. Oh, my God. It's better than probably who's their announcers tonight? I'm sure nobody good. I'm sure it's nobody good.
Turn it down.
Mute it.
John Lynch, their defensive line is one of the best in the league. Yeah. I mean, we assume they're going to be. You know what I mean? Like, that hasn't been totally proven yet. I mean, they got work to do to prove that you're going to be the best defensive line in the league. I mean, on paper, it looks like that. You know what I mean? But we don't know that. I mean, they come out and say, John, I love you, but they come out and say they're the best defensive line in the league. I mean, that's aggressive.
It could eventually turn into one like a year or two down the line. That's something they're trying to, mold into. But, I know I just ranted and raved a few minutes ago about how good they are, but nah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, the 49ers would have something to say to you. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot that we've seen, like Bills, for example. I mean, there's a lot. We can list an entire freaking group that are more proven.
And to his point, he only said one of, but I would agree with you guys in that we have to see it on the field. But, again, with Ron Rivera, on the sideline, that's a guy who knows how to build a defense, and I expect them this year to make an impact.
Michael Black, I know something we discussed a little bit last night, but he wants to know expectations for Jalen's first game tomorrow.
I expect them to hit the double move on Ronald Darby all day long.
Love that.
You better hope you're right.
I mean, listen, he looks good on the field, man. The fact that he had this injury and he's back this fast, I think tells you enough. As it is, he's a rookie. That secondary is garbage. If he can get the ball, I see him getting at least a ball of 25 yards or more, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
That's my expectation for him. I think. I mean, if we can really get into it, he's probably one of the guys I think could be one of your sleepers for the game that makes an impact in this game that pushes it one way. And the injury, the fact that you're playing a busted up secondary with all you have is what Landon Collins and Ronald Darby, whatever. I think both Deshaun Jackson and Reagor should have a chance at some deep balls in this game if Carson gives the time. But I see Reagor with somewhere 4 or 5 catches for 75, 80 yards, something like that.
I expect a really big game from Deshaun tomorrow, just because historically in his career, when he plays his former teams, he lights the lamp. Exactly. And I expect him to be up. But it wouldn't shock me, Steve, if he's used more as a decoy to create more opportunities with both of them on the field tomorrow. On the field tomorrow for Reagor. I think one of those two guys tomorrow, I'll put it this way, whether it's Reagor or it's Deshaun, and I think I would still say high expectations for him, because I think even if Deshaun has a big game, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with Reagor on the field commanding some of that attention. I think one of these two guys has at least one ball of 25 or 30 yards and has 100 yards receiving and a touchdown tomorrow. One of them. I don't know which one, but it's going to be one of them.
Yeah, I would say for over 40. I would say one of them would have. I think there's going to be some bombs, if not more than one. You guys know how I feel about Jalen Reagor. I love the kid. I'm excited about his toughness being shown before the season even started. Tommy, you were talking about that. How excited you were to see something like that. That's what you want to see. Especially if you're a little concerned about someone, and it's okay to feel that way, especially with how Howie drafts. So you see all these great receivers, but you got questions. So now we know you're tough, but let's see it. Okay. You do. You have all these little videos. You're fast. We know that. We know you got moves. Now let's see it tomorrow. I think in this offense, if Deshaun Jackson's healthy, dear Lord, watch out defenses, because you got 2 speedsters. Obviously, you talk about the best tight end duo set in the league. And then, Greg Ward was someone mentioned, and Arthego Whiteside. I think those guys are all going to be able to eat, because they're going to Carson has so many weapons. So let's hope Lane plays. If not, going to have to a lot more quicker throws getting out there, figuring it out. But these guys, a lot of guys that can make things happen when in space. So get them the ball somehow. And but my expectations, I think that he may be just a little limited just because of the fact that, you got your starters in Arcega-Whiteside at X. You got your Z, Deshaun Jackson, your slot guy, Greg Ward. I think they play a majority. But sure, Reagor and Hightower may see a few snaps and stuff. But Reagor would be blowing him out of the water if he didn't have a torn labrum. That's not something you want to play with. Kid's got a full season to play. So I think this isn't going to be like his best game of the season, but he could definitely have a couple home runs, maybe, so I'm excited about him. So I'm trying not to jinx him. Okay. I'm just going to let you know I really am excited.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, he's going to have the first touchdown of the game. I think he's going to end up with 65 yards, and I think he's going to have 30 rushing yards as well.
There you go.
I think they're going to use them kind of jet sweeps, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like we were kind of talking about last night. What they tried to do with Aguilar, but better.
Yep. Exactly what we talked about last night.
Exactly. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would like
someone compared them. It was like, shut up, dude. Like, why? Did you watch tape that you have a reason to compare them? He plays for the Eagles. Give me a break.
First round picks. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to compare him to Nelson or anybody else, former Eagle. He's who he is, and we're going to find out who he is. But it's hard for me to believe. It's just hard for me to buy in that he's going for that he's catching 5 balls for 75 tomorrow. Like I have a hard time believing that tomorrow. Like I just do. Like I mean, you want to talk to me week 6, 7, 8? That being the case, sure, I'll buy into that. But I don't think he's going to. I think it's almost like a Miles Sanders situation before Miles Sanders, right? Like, okay, he's a full participant in practice, but again, I don't think they're gonna go full throttle with him week 1, especially if they don't. Like, he might be 100% to himself. But then knowing okay, he's really like 85, he's cutting it out. We're going to be cautious with him or whatever. But even regardless, I didn't think he was going to come in and be a week 1 huge impact guy, right? Because he is like essentially your 4th receiver, and that's what it is right now. Now he might have, if he didn't get hurt, maybe he jumps him, but he did, and he's a rookie. So you know what I mean. The toughness is great. I love it. I mean, it's a city built on toughness. How can I not love it, right? But at the end of the day, I can't run from the fact that I don't know if he was the right pick, right? I don't know until I see him, and I want to eat so much crow. It's unbelievable. I want to get full on crow. I really would love to, but I don't see that impactful possessionist guy early on in his career, or like early on in year 1 is more what I'm saying, right? I can see it be a home run threat. Of course, I can see him. He has the ability to take a ball 10 to the house. Like I believe he has them sort of abilities. Right, but as a rookie, I gotta allow it to grow. Like I think already, just in us little 5 here, there's already been way too much expectations put on him, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be because he's a 1st-round pick. I'm just saying a wide receiver 1st-round pick in a shortened off season and everything else that's going with it. I expect him to come in and pick this offense up like this. Right? Maybe he does, and if he does, let me tell you, then he's a star right away. Then we know he's a star right away, and that conversation's over, right? Yeah. But I still gotta put limited expectations on him early on. But I better be here, like I said, week 8. Then I need to be seeing 6, 7 catches a game. You know what I mean? 5 to 7, big plays, right? But I gotta allow that process to happen. Is all I'm trying to say. I gotta allow it to happen and say this is what we do in this city, where we're like, well, week 1. I know we're all excited, but now he's scoring touchdown 1. He's breaking a ball for 45. He's getting 6 catches. Another guy said, I'm just circling the room. To me, like if he had 3 catches for, let's say, 35, 40 yards tomorrow, I would say that's a win. That's a win. That's a win tomorrow. For a week.
Well, that's what I said. I only think he gets limited time, man. If he has a couple plays, you'll be happy. And you shouldn't expect much.
No, we're talking about playing. Dude, to get these kind of numbers, he's got to be playing 90 to 100% of the snap. I don't think he does anywhere near that. I think he's like 50% of the snap. So that's why to me, 3 catches is like that. That's an impact. That's more of an impact than JJ had all last year. So, I mean,
right? Look at the starters, right? If they should ball out, then he shouldn't be relied upon, right? That's why we talked about Arthega-Whiteside. We need him to step up because that's that one questionable starter where you're like, okay, if you could play that X, then we'd be comfortable with Deshaun as your Z, and then Ward as your slot. And then we've got more sets than just your triple set. You move people around. Reagor will become a part of that, but like you said, it's going to take a little time. So be patient, guys. Don't be – now, I love what you've all said. Like, I totally do, but let's just –
well, you know,
because I'm high on him. I just don't want to jinx it.
The funny thing is, I only have him getting 65 yards and 30 or 40 in the rush based off. I only have it based off
one huge catch.
Yeah, like I think it's
maybe something like that.
I think it's going to be all in like 3 plays. I just think it's going to be. I think the game.
He's going to come on the field and he's going to as soon as he comes on the field, so every time he's on the field, he's making a big play. And I can't buy into that one now.
No, I'm not saying that he's only going to have four times on the field. My point is he's going to have 4 catches and 1 rush, and it's going to add up to 65. And he's going to have 1 long.
No, I understand that. That's why I just think that. But then you got a touchdown on there too. So I mean, you got 4 for 65, a touchdown, and 30 yards rushing.
I have a score of
that's 90 total yards in week 1. As your 4th wideout. Listen, I hope you guys are all right. I'm just saying that expectation's a little too high for week 1. You hit me with that with week 3, 4. I'm sorry. Then I start to need that progress. But week 1, I gotta at least allow it that almost set myself up to expect 2 or 3 catches, and then if I get 6, it's like I got TO. You know what I mean? So I want to set myself up the right way for it, because if I feel like knowing this city. If I set myself up thinking he has an explosive day, whatever you guys want to make it out to be, right? But just an explosive day and an impactful day, I feel like then if he has 2 catches, I'm like, here we go again. I mean, here we go again, Howie. Here we go again. But if I set myself up for 2 and he has 5, you know what I mean? And I'm like giddy as a schoolgirl. You know what I mean? That's why I go lower.
Well, that's why my point wasn't necessarily totally putting expectations of having 100 yards on him. I said it could be him, it could be Deshaun. My expectation is that he's going to be a factor that's going to be able to stretch this field and create other opportunities for people, which to me, if other guys are the ones who are filling the stat sheets, but he's a factor on the field and commanding attention, to me, that's just as good as having 60, 70, 80 yards. And I still think even if it's only, 40 or 50% of the snaps or whatever it is, I still think that he could be a huge factor. That I do expect in some way, shape, or form. I'm not necessarily saying I think he'll put 100 yards up. And what you were saying, Tom, earlier in terms of, eating crow and this and that, Ryan knows I'm always all about it. I'd love to get proven wrong. I definitely come around on Jalen Reagor, and his toughness too is something that I've fallen in love with. But, I saw somebody comment in here it's right here. Who's going to have a bigger game, Reagor or Lamb? I know they're in the same division. That's not who if I'm going to put a measuring stick of another one of these wide receivers, I don't look at CeeDee Lamb. I look at Justin Jefferson, because that's the guy I wanted who went a pick later. And Justin Jefferson, much like we're hearing about Jalen Reagor, has had a lot of praise with the way that he's looked in Minnesota's camp coming into the year. So that's more of a guy who, if I'm going to play comparisons, I'm looking at Justin Jefferson. But the comparison with CeeDee Lamb to me is whatever. If you ask me who's going to have a bigger day tomorrow, for purely what Tom was talking about and you guys were talking about, the fact that I think that Jefferson's going to have to play a more key factor for that football team, and I think he's going to see more snaps on the field. I would expect Justin Jefferson to have a bigger game. And if CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a bigger game than him, then then Dallas has an issue, because I think he's going to end up – he's 100% healthy, and he should be considered more of a factor for that football team than what we need Jalen to be for us early in the year.
You're talking about a second, possible third wideout compared to a guy 4th on the depth chart. Like, he should have a better game, and he's 100% healthy. CeeDee Lamb should have a better game.
I think Justin Jefferson is the right measuring stick. If we're going to play the let's compare rookie wide receivers, Justin Jefferson's the guy that you got to look at.
You want a hot take? Justin Jefferson finds the end zone 10 times this year, because he plays with a gunslinger. When they play,
I agree.
They'll have a couple games a year where they play from behind big time, where they have to throw. Like I could just see him having double-digit touchdowns. I don't know what else he's going to do, and I'm not saying that's going to make him better down the road than Jalen, because I don't know. But
I think Jalen has a higher upside down the road as time progresses. But I agree with you, Tom. And people were making such a big deal about, is Adam Thielen a number one? He lost Stephon Diggs. Well, Diggs isn't exactly a guy who burns up on the field. He's a space guy, right? But I think Jefferson is a guy who could do just about the similar types of stuff on the field. And I think Justin Jefferson is going to be a great number two to Adam Thielen. And having Adam Thielen on the opposite side is going to create opportunities for him, much like we expect with the Eagles, with having Alshon on the field and really having Deshaun Jackson on the opposite side of him.
Absolutely. So who do you guys, before we give our score predictions, I want one sleeper name out of you. Somebody on this roster you're not really expecting that could have a huge impact tomorrow, or that nobody's really talking about, either or. And then we'll give, our what would be our usual player of the game, which is probably somebody you would think of more. So right now, I just want your sleeper guy. Who's your sleeper guy that you believe steps up tomorrow?
Middle linebacker T.J. Edwards will have 10 tackles.
I like it.
Now, I think Casey Toohill. That's mine.
What do you think he has, Jimmy? You think he just gets a sack or two, or
I thought you just wanted me to say it quick. Dude, I think that he could get a chance to shine a little bit here, obviously, with Derek Barnett out. Josh Sweat, I'm very excited about him. So, obviously, that name was already spoken about, and I think a lot of people are already expecting that. But Casey Toohill was a guy that pushed out Sharif Miller, Joe Osman, guys that everybody was talking about. And this kid really showed out every single day at training camp. He just got better and better. And Doug Peterson couldn't stop talking about him. He just kept – and then Jim Schwartz, when he got the chance, he would not shut up about him. And he was like – just how much he fits this system. He played outside linebacker in a 3-4 in college. He's an edge rusher. He's I know sometimes people are scared by that build because of Derek Barnett sucking, but maybe this kid comes in and actually shows us something and could be a diamond in the rough just for a rotation guy. I'm not saying he's somebody that's going to come in and start right now. I just think we all talk about how much we need edge rushers. Please let this just be a guy that maybe makes us feel less worried about it, right?
Has a motor. That's all. Has a little motor to him. That's all we're looking for a guy like that. Just have a motor.
Exactly.
Joe flashes of being able to get after
a baby Chris Long.
Yeah, that's it. Just when you come in, have a motor and show an ability to get after the quarterback and put some pressure. Cromer, who do you got? Well, you give me your sleeper tomorrow. Who's impactful?
See, I actually have two. I want to let Ryan go first because I feel like he might take one of them, and if he does, then I don't have to say both. But I want to give him an opportunity here.
All right, so question. I don't know if this guy qualifies as a sleeper. Would Avonte Maddox qualify?
I would think so. I mean, nobody's really talking about him that much because everything's on Darius Slay
and Coleman. Yeah, I'm gonna go Maddox pick 6 tomorrow. Like we were kind of talking about it last night. I think in the game we're gonna stuff the run, and Haskins may be down. Let's say a touchdown or 10 points. He's gonna have to start forcing it a little bit. And also because I think Slay's going to be covering McLaurin like a blanket for a majority of the game, just because he's a very good coverage guy. So because of that, I believe Maddox ends up with a pick 6 in the third quarter.
I like it. I got two guys. I gave Ward earlier, so I'm going to go on the defensive side of the football, and I got two guys. I mentioned one earlier, but I think Malik Jackson shows up tomorrow and has a big game with a lot to prove and a chip on his shoulder. I think that he's going to step up on that defensive line. I expect a sack and a half, 2 sacks out of him, which I think would be a great first game back, from that season-ending injury from last year. Another guy, Ryan's boy, Kavon Wallace, is going to have a pick. He's going to have, I'll say, 4 tackles and a pick, which I think would be a great rookie debut. I'm going Kavon Wallace.
I'd like to see if Marquez Epps or him gets more playing time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, just because anytime I could say Kavon Wallace's name, I do it. My only question is, do we even think he's going to play tomorrow?
Nope.
That's what I mean. He's not ready. Like Tom said about Ray, it takes a little time. We can get excited and think these guys will get plugged in, but
it ain't all coming in the door.
I think it's Marcus Epps, yeah.
I think he could be a very good player in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to try and mold him into his, into Rodney's replacement, or if one of those two goes down to injury, then we see. I love the pick because it's my guy, but
no reason
I just don't think we're going to see him.
I mean, you guys wanted a sleeper.
Oh, that's a sleeper. I mean,
No, I love it.
he
No,
might be
dude,
a
it's better
sleeper.
pick than Casey Toohill. I just,
He just
you know,
might be a
we had to pick
sleeper
a
in the
dusty
game 'cause he
pick,
might
and
not
that's
be
so
drafted.
I love it, man.
Yeah, no,
I
I just don't know if he gets on the field. But I mean, if he doesn't, I mean, that's the reason.
That's the same with Toohill, though, so you can bag me for that too.
No, but that's why they're sleeper picks. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You know, if he gets on the field, that'd be awesome week one.
Hell yeah.
You know, God, I mean, his jersey sales will probably sell out because everybody think it's Dawkins. You know what I mean?
That Parks out, he has a much better chance. That's where I threw in the Epps thing because, like, you know, Ryan brought up a great point. Rodney McLeod is more of the mold that he fits, where he's that single high safety, whereas less of the, you know, the box guy where we had with Will Parks and Jalen Mills. I saw people saying Jalen Mills. I didn't think that was much of a sleeper. I think we're all very excited and have made that very apparent in this little group just right here. Yeah, we all are hoping that he balls out tomorrow. Like that one, but I don't think so. Maybe. That'd be great. If you see that thing at the John Hightower at the bottom there. I don't
love it, Don. If you could play on a blue field, you can play anywhere.
If we're concerned about Reagor getting time, Jesus, that's a hey, I love it. Whatever.
Yeah, Don, I'm not gonna go there. Stay in Detroit. Stay in that lane right now, Don.
He said Big V's out.
Yeah, he's not playing tomorrow. Big V.
The injury travels with you.
Hey, he's still got the eagle in him.
Yep, travels with you. I'm gonna go with. I mean, you call it a sleeper, you call it not a sleeper. I mean, I think the way people look at him in the city, he's a sleeper. And I'm going to go with JJ. I think JJ has a good game tomorrow. I really do. I think he has 6-7 catches. I believe it. I believe it. I want to believe that this is the way it goes for some wide receivers in this league. You know, I just want to believe that sometimes, especially when it's one of your own. I just need that pick to hit. Like none of these high tower Quez Watkins shit don't matter if Jalen and freaking JJ hit. If they hit, the other two don't matter. You know what I mean? They can just be speed guys, run around, little gadget guys. Great. They don't need to be anything more than that. You know what I'm saying? I still don't mean they're not gonna be. I don't mean they're not gonna be on this roster. I just mean like, okay, down the road, they're your third, fourth. You know what I mean? Etc. They don't never need to be your one or two. Where these two guys were listen, they were drafted in their slots to be your 1 and 2. That's where they were drafted at. I didn't draft them there. I'm telling you where they were drafted. So that equals what they're supposed to be. So we need these two to be able to play. Now, listen, we dealt with the 1 year of the one. Now it's show me time. Like I said, Jalen, I can give you a break just like I gave JJ, right? Like I gave JJ a break all year. You guys know it. I crushed him at times. But for the most part, I gave him a break for that rookie wall sometimes. It happens where you just can't figure anything out, right? But I'll give you one. You don't get the break into this year. So if you're non-existent week 1, then we got a major issue. And I think plenty of people think he's going to be non-existent to a point. I hope to want to see the positives in him and hope that the game slow down and he can have a decent day tomorrow where the pulse is there. So sleeper, 5-6 catches, something like that. I mean, I think we'd all take that from JJ tomorrow.
Well, and to add on top of that too, I think that the kid could have a bounce back year this year. I think he will have a bounce back year. We had a
bounce back from.
Well, yeah, you ain't kidding. We had an offensive coordinator last year who the year prior couldn't take Golden Tate, who everywhere Golden Tate has played has been able to produce in a big way. And how long did he have to find a way to integrate Golden Tate into the lineup? So I'd like to maybe look at it and consider maybe part of it was the coordinator not knowing how to use him the right way. He did. There was opportunities that he had where he dropped footballs, which was surprising to us because he's supposed to be a guy with good hands. But that being said, I'd like to think that part of it was the coordinator not always putting him in great positions because he was shifted around a lot by need last year. So with the injuries, with a coordinator who has kind of proven that he really couldn't manage that kind of shifting around of players and creating opportunities for them because he's very vanilla. He was a very vanilla coordinator. I would like to think now they have more of an idea of this is what we want to do with him. This is where his position on this football team is going to be.
You should have been on the show last night, Crow. That's literally what I was saying last night. I believe in this kid. I truly do, and that's exactly why. It was Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh as well. Two terrible coaches. They hindered his growth, and you could see it. But obviously, so did the injuries. So many things that you just mentioned there. So I'm high on him. That's why I mentioned him earlier. I love it, Tom. I think And obviously we need him to step up because he needs to be that replacement for Alshon. So I think, Aaron Moorhead being the new wide receivers coach with Jason Avant in there to help is truly going to help this guy playing against better corners. I think he'll have a huge year, and hopefully we better be, because him and Reagor will be the future for Carson Wentz.
And I do like bringing in Jason Avant too to work with a lot of these guys. I think that's really gonna be a nice move that's gonna pay off.
They've got the thing you can't teach, right? Speed. So bringing the guy that knows how to run the routes in the hands,
Absolutely.
So Sweeps chimes in.
Yeah, I already know what he said. So
he has a message
on his text messages. You know what I mean? So now, like, that's almost like a violation that as soon as you smiled, I know now he's going in other inboxes, texting, he's copy and pasting those messages. I mean, that's a violation. When you copy paste your own messages into more than one thread, that becomes unfunny, though. That becomes unfunny.
Wow, he's copy and pasting, sliding into the DM.
I'm hurt, Sweeps. Wow. I thought you and I had like one-on-one communication. Sweeps.
No, let me read what he wrote to me, and you tell me if it's different, right? Oh my God, Tom Big JJ, definitely a sleeper. Slept all last year.
Yeah, he says, JJ, LOL. Tell Tommy he is a sleeper. He was asleep all last season.
Oh, he did. It wasn't exactly.
Wait, how many laughing faces, Tom? How many laughing faces did he put in this?
No, it wasn't a copy and paste, so we'll give him.
Oh, I was going to say, I got some emojis. I got some emojis in mine.
I got a lot of these, but
I got one of those.
But isn't a sleeper supposed to give you these? I mean, shit, did you hear some of the names that got tossed out here?
Yeah, man.
My God, I never heard of
Casey Two-Hill.
Yeah, I didn't hear Jimmy's name until last week. This guy's going to make the roster. Who?
Yeah, it's wild. I'm glad he did, too. We need something. Dear God.
As soon as you smiled, I knew it was from him. I knew it. As soon as Ryan smiled, I said, "Sleep just messes right." In my head. My antenna went off. I said, "He just messes."
Alarm started going off in the studio. Yeah. Sweeps text.
Like, why are my ears ringing? Who's talking about me?
Somebody say my name.
But at the end of the day, we need this guy to come play well. So I agree with him. He did sleep all last year. So I mean, when how much hammer Chrome for saying bounce back year? When I said you can't, there's nothing to bounce back from. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you hammer. He's going to bounce back. Bounce back from what? Bounce back from 6 catches? You bet. What's the bounce back? 12 catches? No.
I don't even know if he had that. I think he had like 3.
I don't even know what he had, nor do I want to know anymore.
No, I'm actually
7-8. Some terrible, man.
I think he had more injuries than catches. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I think he had more injuries than catches.
So
it's a new year. It's a new year.
I know you don't read my stuff. I need another outlet.
I got you, Sweeps, if you need me.
Roasting Tom's fine with on everybody else's phone.
JJ had 10 receptions for 169 yards and 1 touchdown.
Good game. Oh, for the year? Yeah.
Oh, wait, that wasn't like a half? That was that was the entire season? Wow.
I think Deshaun had that week 1 last year.
Yeah, dude.
In like the second quarter.
138 yards, something like a couple touchdowns.
Wow, we've got a lot of Hightower picks.
Yeah, I would calm down with every one of them picks. I mean, I wouldn't even put my name to them. It was tough putting my name to this guy. You know what I mean? And I'm going to a 5th rounder. Like, I'm going
wild.
Remember who drafts these guys? It's the same guy. So if he's missing 2nd rounders, then we're gonna be like, oh, well, he'll get the 5th round.
I don't know what goes on through Howie's head. I mean, with a lot of things, but we draft a guy who cries on the practice field. We draft a guy that's holding an umbrella on the practice field, and now notice how everyone's excited because now he has a sleeve tattoo. It's like, oh, he's a grown up now. It's like,
last night,
yeah,
a guy who rode a bicycle to the stadium.
Oh yeah, with the backpack,
player jerseys. Like, nobody cares. It doesn't make you good.
I'll give a shit if you got a sleeve on this arm and a tattoo sleeve on this arm.
Yeah. A wide receiver that literally went to the coach and said, I'm good with special teams. It's like, Doug's like, what? You don't want to play wide receiver? Nah, I'll just watch. I'll be over here. It's like, what are we doing? Do we talk to these guys? Do we talk to them?
Listen, I don't understand it. And listen, we got a poll question up. So I'm going to ask you guys this right now. On all HUD platforms, and it's about Zach Ertz. One of our agree to disagree posts is that Zach Ertz will have over 8 catches on Sunday. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? So over 8 catches on Sunday for Zach Ertz. And then after we read this one off, then we'll get into our official player of the game and our score predictions one last time. Get it out one more time. We haven't done it 49 times this week already. So one more for the people who missed us. Here we are. We're back. And we'll give that out. And then, we got In This Very Ring coming up at 10:30. So, we just wanted to throw you a special out tonight. I got home and I was like, I feel like we just need to, give one more. Like, I feel like we need to do it again. Like, tomorrow's a big day, so
Sure.
we're going to be working on, probably not week 1, but throughout the football season, we'll have some live reactions. We'll figure out some pregame stuff. And obviously we're going to have a post-game show tomorrow night. So we'll have you covered there. So it's not like you're going without Eagles tomorrow. Jimmy again.
Jimmy ran on the field. Jimmy ran out on the field.
So to the poll, Zach Ertz will have over 8 catches on Sunday. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
I would have to say he's at 8 catches.
At 8, a push.
Definitely a push. I don't see him going over 8 just because, with who's healthy, we obviously know Deshaun's going to get some balls, but Reagor's going to get some balls. Goddard's going to get some balls. The running backs are going to get some balls. I don't see him having more than 8.
Okay, no, I mean I'm right around that number too. Jimmy, agree or disagree?
I disagree.
I forgot to ask him this. Does he have a touch tomorrow, Steve? Ertz?
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He has one.
That's all that matters. Finds the end zone. We want to find end zones tomorrow. Yep. Jimmy,
I can definitely agree with what he said there on the touchdown. I think it's gonna kick me off. Oh, I'm gonna get pissed.
12-6 Phillies in the 9th.
Yep. 12-6 Bills. This is where they give it up.
Can you guys still hear me? Can you?
Yeah, you're here. Yeah, you're here. Now we can hear you.
Bye, Jimmy.
He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming.
He was bracing for impact.
Chrome, agree or disagree? Zach Ertz has 8 catches tomorrow, or over 8 catches.
I'm going to disagree. I think he's going to be around 6 or 7. I think he gets a touch, but I just feel like there's so many weapons. I really feel like the ball gets spread around a lot on this on the offense tomorrow, particularly in the passing game because not having Miles. I'm gonna say under just because I think he's going to be around 6 or 7, but he will have a touchdown catch tomorrow.
Well, we'll try this again before I get saddlebagged again. Over under on times I get kicked off was something I was going to ask. Apparently, when you double your internet, it kicks you off double the times. So I think that, I disagree with the poll, but I agree with he'll get a touchdown. I think maybe, we talk about all the other weapons. It'll be spread around. So maybe get around 6, 7. He could get 8, but I don't think he gets any more than that. But he is a guy. We've talked about this, He's a guy that you see that kind of production from. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went out and got 10 catches, but I see him in the red zone getting a touchdown. That's where we shine. So, yeah, I disagree to the poll, but agree to the touchdown.
I'm going to go over on the catches. I'm going to go 9. But I don't – hot take here. I don't think he's going to get a touchdown because I think – and this could be a really hot take, especially for me – I think the guy that we've been talking about, which we thought we would see him really flourish, but really didn't get the opportunity that much last year. I think the guy, maybe our new red zone little decoy, maybe our little secret weapon, I think J.J. Arcega-Whiteside gets 2 touchdowns in the red zone tomorrow. Because he's taking the role. He's taking because Jimmy and I have talked about this a lot. Chucks and I have talked about this a lot. So where Alshon, when he's healthy, he is also one of Carson's go-to red zone targets along with the tight ends. Obviously, with Alshon out, JJ is going to take the mantle of that. I think he gets 2. And it's going to be a whole friggin' parade. And then, listen, I'm rooting for the kid because I've been a hater of the kid, and I want to be so completely wrong. It's not even funny. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just because – we're under 24 hours away, but I feel like we're going to see something out of the kid. I don't know how long it'll last, but I think we're going to see something out of the kid tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I think
2
if he gets
touchdowns would double his career production.
Yeah.
It would be the career highlight. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd
but
love it. It'd be great for his confidence.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If he gets 2 tomorrow, I mean, I would assume that he has a really good season and it carries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think to get him off to a good start and try to run some plays designed for him, I think would be a smart move from this coaching staff tomorrow. Like almost try to get the ball in his hands early and just like sort of get the kick going a little bit if you can. You might not be able to. Maybe he can't get separation. Maybe he doesn't get open. I don't know. But you got to at least make that attempt too early on. I know, Bill, here he comes. You know what I mean? He's loving it. Now he's got him up to catching. He's catching 16 this year.
And Michael, no, I'm not going that far. I would never do that to you. I mean, if JJ's on any team, I mean, it might be a 50-person league then if JJ was drafted.
Kind of. It wouldn't shock me though if Zach has a huge game tomorrow. See, I want to disagree with it because I feel like the ball. I want to see the ball spread out, and I feel like that's an opportunity. I feel like if Zach Ertz is getting 10, 11, 12 catches, that is more so in this instance going to be a result of Carson is being rushed to get rid of the football very quickly. And I don't want to see Carson have to make quicker decisions. I mean, I'm confident he can, but I don't want to see Carson running around trying to extend plays and create extra opportunities. So I feel like if we're seeing 10, 12 catches out at Ertz, that's probably, in my mind, going to be more of a product of Carson has to get the ball out quick. And I don't want to see that. I need that to give him time for the field to open up and opportunities to open up for these guys tomorrow. So because I want to believe it, I'm going to go with under. I'm going to go with a disagree.
Yeah, I'm over. I'm at 10 spot. I mean, this is his favorite target. When you went out and added toys on the outside and you added weapons and you got faster A, B, C, or D, that should open up the middle of the field. That should just automatically open up the middle of the field. And who better than his favorite target? That that's his. Throughout all this of not being able to really practice up until recently, when guys getting back together, who's his main guy? I gotta assume he's going to go to his comfort zone more so than not. And when I think we're going to throw the ball a ton tomorrow, I think he goes over and gets 10. You know what I mean? I just think that's just Zach Ertz to me. It's just what he does. So, he either goes for 10 or he gets 4. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be like that drastic because usually to have that's how it goes for him. He gets them in bunches. Then, he always has good games. I feel like he never has a bad game. Isn't that weird? Like, Zach Ertz really never disappears because he's such a comfort zone to Carson Wentz. He's never going to disappear. So what I'm hoping is some of these skill position players on the outside just open it up for him and Dallas underneath a lot more than they even had in years past. I don't care if Zach Ertz has 150 catches this year. I know people get all bothered by like, oh my God, he targets Zach Ertz too much. Throw the ball to the guy who's open. Guy catches everything. Throw the ball. He can't break a tackle from me or you, but throw him the damn ball because catching is fun. Catching and moving the chains is a good time. That's sort of how drives keep going.
We could use that.
Yeah, so I'm all for, feed him the rock, man, if he's open. Now, maybe they double him and that leaves Deshaun, and Deshaun has a big game. Somebody's there's going to be some guys that have monster games tomorrow. If Carson gets the numbers we think he gets to. You know what I mean?
I never understood the narrative of, he throws to Zach Ertz too much. I mean, it's one thing if he's throwing to Zach Ertz and he's dropping the football and not making plays. But he makes plays. I don't ever recall Patriots fans bitching that Tom Brady threw the ball to Gronkowski too much, to Wes Welker too much. Every quarterback has their one or two favorite targets, their safety blankets, their go-to guys, particularly in certain situations. In this instance, it's Carson Wentz and it's Zach Ertz. In the red zone, it's Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz. That's just how it is. There's nothing wrong with that. He's catching the football and making plays.
It's the people who never played sports or the people who have a problem with it. Like if you even quarterbacked in like a backyard league with your boys, like not even a league, like your backyard with your boys, like
you got that favorite target.
You're gonna have one guy that you just feel good with, right? It's just the way it works. I don't know why. There's just one guy you feel like that's my guy. Like I can just feel what he's doing. I can just feel what he's doing, right? Like in weird ways. And I know we're talking about like backyard football, but even quarterback at any level. Like you get a quarterback at midget football and been like, even though you hand the ball off 95 times a game, you still are gonna have that one guy that you're like, that was my guy. You know what I mean? That was my guy. It's just the way it's always worked. Like, I think I was able to quarterback like a freshman year of football, and that was it. And I just remember having that like one guy I felt like I always threw the football to, and his name was Rich Rubina. Like I threw him the football all the time. One of the friends to this day, so one of my friends. But I feel like he had one game he had like 215 yards. Does it matter who you throw the ball to? You know what I mean? Like if the guy's open, like he was like he was, or felt like he was for me, you throw him the ball, or you have a comfort zone. I'm not comparing myself to the NFL. You just understand what I'm saying, though, by like the levels of lower level footballs, even just having fun with your boys, you always have that go-to target. You know what I mean? Even like growing up, I mean, anybody who ever like spun it a little bit, like in the backyard, always has that guy. So that's his guy. And throw to him 100 times. I don't care. Just win games. It doesn't affect me. I'm not looking
moving the chains.
Yeah, it's not Madden stats. I'm not trying to spread it around. I don't give a rat's ass. Okay? Like, I don't care if nobody else catches the ball. And he has 30. Carson's 35 for 45. Okay? And 35 of the catches are by him. I don't care as long as we got a dub. All right? And we're having a good Sunday night. That's all we care about.
Amen.
We're going to spread it around. Oh, my God. These guys got to get more touches. For what? If we're winning games, who cares? So now they're going to start doubling him, rolling coverage to him. Then guess what happens? Guess what happens then? Oh, bang, Deshaun. Or bang, Jalen.
Spread the field, baby. Open it up.
It's hard for me to say bang JJ because I just don't know if he's going over top of people. But, like, bang, bang Greg. You know what I mean? Like, bang, bang Dallas. I feel like Dallas might have more speed than JJ. So, like, bang down. But it's going to be, like I said, I don't care who gets the football, but it's just fun to be able to talk about it. We feel like we talked about it for so long. And it's like, it's here, it's here. It's tomorrow morning. It's not even like a 4:00 game. You got a one piece. You know what I mean?
To answer one of the questions that came up, somebody asked Carson 20 or more yards rushing. Absolutely not. I don't see
17 at times.
Oh, he goes over 20.
Not have more than 10.
He's going to have a great passing game, so he's not going to need to.
Who wants to put money?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Jimmy. I'm speaking it into fruition, Tom.
Let's end this right, guys.
I'm saying absolutely not, because I want to believe that he's not going to need to do that. He's going to be able to get the football out. The field is going to spread, and he's going to be able to get the football. Maybe Zach Ertz.
19.
Maybe it is 27 throws to Zach Ertz, and he never leaves the pocket once. And guess
22.
what? We get a W.
Look, I feel like he'll have one. I feel like he could have one rush over 20. So it's like you know what I mean? Like, you could just break one down.
Good.
I don't care.
I'll
about
stick
him.
with 17. Yeah.
Now we want him to be like. No, I want him rolled out. I want him on the move.
Might have to with Lane. No. Yeah, it depends if Lane's there.
I understand what you're saying. No, even more so. Even if Lane's not there, he's got to get on the move. You got to roll him
He'll
around.
definitely be running then.
I agree with that. He's going to have to extend plays.
So I know what you're saying, though, Chrome. Like, you don't want him necessarily running the football if he doesn't have to. If he's throwing well from the pocket, I'm just assuming like there's going to be some rollouts, right? That maybe things aren't there and he has to type things. But I hear you. I mean, I want him.
I'm trying to speak it into belief. That's all. In my head, I'm gonna be 100% confident behind that. And also,
I don't want Lamar Jackson, but I still want him to be a threat.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't need Lamar, but I still want him for people to know, like, he can go break one for 20. You know what I mean? Like, I still want that in defense's heads. I know you got clowny PTSD right now. I know what you got over there. All right, I understand. I got the same thing. So, like, how are we going to get down? Are we going to slide first? Did we learn how to baseball slide? Like you know what I mean? Or are we still head first? Like, did we adjust this all season? Like, they're more to question mark. But he's not going to move. They think he won't. That he won't run a little bit. I mean, I don't
have the same. I don't. Ryan produced a show the other day, and I went on a whole big thing about this. I don't have the injury concerns about Carson that a lot of people do, because I think a lot of it, if you look at the core of it, is circumstantial. He had an injury preseason his rookie year, but guess what? He came back and played 16 games, but people still talk about it as if he missed fucking 7 games that year. Then you go and
he's missed 8 total in his career.
He had and if you want to add in the playoffs too, right? So, but then you look, and then yes, he had the major injury after he already clinched home field advantage for us and basically carried us to that home field advantage of the playoffs. So there's that one. He had the injury, the what was it, like the fracture in his back or whatever it was, the little hairline fracture. And we talked about this before, guys. He could have played through that injury. Matt Stafford has, but when you have the luxury of a Nick Foles, you don't sacrifice or take a risk with your young franchise quarterback who you are about to pay big money to. So what do? You let him sit unless you absolutely need him. They didn't need him. And then what did he do? He came out last year and played 16 games and then was taken out on a cheap shot by Clowney. So I don't hold that against him. I don't hold any of them against him. But if you want to say there was one major injury where maybe he took a risk that he didn't necessarily have to take, it was the Rams game. That's the only one. I don't have the crazy injury PTSD that everybody else does. I look at one and I say, he could have played that a little bit differently. And then he played another play after that.
Broke the record, man. The Eagles touchdown record.
So
on a broken.
I will always sit and defend Carson for the injury thing because I think it's a bad rap for what he gets for that.
Oh, I'll defend him for it all day, but that doesn't.
I'm with it too. I just think it's funny because you look around the league and you look at guys like Deshaun Watson, and he gets all this praise and stuff like that. He's missed more games than Carson, and we're still sitting there. He's not injury prone, but
he's not an Eagle.
He's not an Eagle.
They talk so much trash about us. Let them.
So many quarterbacks.
This is inside our own bird circle, though. I mean, inside our own bird circle, you got people that think the guy's the most injury.
Oh, yeah, Nick Foles. Still, he can't beat out Mitch Trubisky, but let's bring him back.
Banged up, guys. This is why he needs to have I know, Chrome's 100% right, but he also needs to have a full one this year. Like he has to.
2 in a row. He's
going to shut people up this year, man.
Yeah,
you need 2 seasons in a row with a full 16, so that he can. I think that should. We know this city. That should shake that stigma a little bit.
Yeah.
We need a full 16 out of them this year. And to me, that's the key to winning this division. It's 1st to 10 between us and Dallas, and it's Carson on the field for a full 16.
Well, we also need Deshaun on the field for a full 16 this year, too.
12, and I'll be okay with it. I think Reagor just needs some time to take over.
I'll take 10. I'll take friggin' 10 at this point.
Exactly.
See, Carson's the only one that I really look at and say we have to have him for a full 16, and you don't have a Nick Foles backup.
Well, we need Sanders for 15. I know we can't say the 16 thing, but
I agree. But I think it will be a lot hard. I think the hardest injury on this entire 53-man team would be Carson Wentz. If there's one guy that
hurts,
there's only one guy that we have to pick that has to play a full 16. Today it's Carson.
Hot take going on the next week, right? Yeah, you can write this down and book this, right? Write it down. Miles Sanders doesn't play next week. It's a hammy. Why would he? Why would he? Why would you? I'm going to tell you what this organization worries about November, December. I'm going to keep yelling it until people at home realize it because some don't get it yet. Right, because they're like week 1 last year, we didn't run the ball enough. You guys remember? It wasn't that long ago where people were bitching and moaning after week 1 after a win that we didn't run the ball enough. Remember? Let's not run from this because I remember doing a show and people were bitching and moaning about Doug week 1 last year. And I remember saying, give it time. They always do this early on, right? And then we saw what happened. They started to use both of them obviously a lot more. Well, then Jordan got hurt, and then obviously Miles was getting the rock a ton, right? And then I don't want to say he got the brakes were off of him, but essentially for his first taste of the NFL, got a heavy dose, right? But I don't think not that they don't need him. So understand the difference of what I'm trying to say here. They obviously need him, but they also need him later on in this year. And if we know anything about hamstring injuries, we know how they linger. So the last thing I want to do is either tear that, which is no bueno for nobody, okay, or let it breathe, man. There's no. I don't need to have this guy back by week 4. Honestly, week 4, I need him fully healthy, ready to give me the rest of the year. You understand? And I'm not saying it's going to take that long. I'm just telling you what I expect. You break it in the quarters, right? That first 4 games is more of a feeler out. Can you not make the playoffs in the first 4? Yeah, I mean, if you went 0-4, you're probably in some trouble. But if you're 2-2, you're right where you want to be. Really, you know what I'm saying? For where we're at, usually we're right where we want to be. So, I mean, I'd rather be 3-1 or 4-0, but you understand what I'm saying. So, what's going to be worse? Going 2-2 hypothetically, just hypotheticals, without Miles for 4 weeks, or going 3-1, he plays, but something again either lingers with that hammy, or he's out for a significant amount of time because of that hammy. What would we rather have? So I'm more looking to try to keep him healthy and say, hey, I got a long rest of the year for you. So maybe the
Tom,
first week he doesn't play. That's all I'm saying.
Tom, that's a fair point too. Because if you look at these first 3 games in the schedule, right? Eagles, Rams, Bengals. Rams could be a tough game, but Eagles, Rams, Bengals. Washington, Rams, and Bengals, right? But then you go beyond that, week 4, you start seeing a long stretch of big boys in divisional games. 49ers, Steelers, Ravens, Giants, Cowboys, Giants. The Browns could very possibly have a very good football team this year.
They got a good defense. They got a good defense. And let me tell you something. I'm not beating them teams without Miles Sanders.
Seahawks, Packers, Saints, all in a row. The Cardinals might have a really good team this year. Then the Cowboys again. Literally after week 4 for the rest of the year, this is a very difficult schedule for this football team on paper, mind you. But I would agree with you. I would much rather let him rest and be good to go for that beast of a stretch that they have the rest of the year than worry about the first 3 weeks of. I just want to see Miles, so I need him on the football field. Absolutely not.
Agreed, boys. So let's get into score prediction, player of the game, and we'll wrap it up here for in this very ring. That's going to be on your programming for 10:30. So right around the block for you, for the geeks, for the nerds. Sorry, geeks a poor word choice. I apologize. Nerd, better. They like that better. From what
Talk nerdy to me, baby. Talk nerdy to me.
What I hear from my nerds, they like that better.
I'm just a producer. Producer.
Oh, Mr. Wrestling. Okay, yeah, he's just a producer when it's convenient. Guy loves wrestling too.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick where I was at. 31-21. Carson throws 2 touchdowns, and we get either a special teams or defensive touchdown.
Nice. I'm in.
Player of the game, Carson. He has to be the player of the game. He has to finish what he start right where he did last year. Put him on their back. Do what he's got to do. See you, Jimmy.
He'll be back in 10 seconds with his prediction in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or is he just say he's not coming back? Or is he done? Did he call quits? There he is. Oh,
beat the clock.
Easily beat the clock. And we can time it out. There he is.
Oh, right on time.
I'm telling you, I'm taking the over-under that Zach Ertz has more catches than times I get kicked off. I think that is the bet here. Son of a bitch. So what are we asking here? The score and what was the other one?
Player of the game.
Player of the game. Oh. I think that we should beat them. This is very difficult because of the whole Lane Johnson thing. But just in case he is banged up, I'll go back a little bit from where I was. No more 30+. I'll stick around the 27 range. And I'll go 27-13. And player of the game, Carson Wentz. I think he's going to ball out. We talked about it last night. I think he's going to allow Ertz to have a great day. Goddard will get some. I think Reagor, Jackson, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, we talked about Greg Ward. Everybody mentioned somebody that I loved, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, talked about that last. And then I was thinking things we talked about last night. So much great stuff the past few days, guys. It's been awesome talking with you. So I can't wait till we're talking, tomorrow or the next, whenever, just about how much Carson Wentz did actually beat their ass. And, with Miles Sanders, we didn't even worry about it. So that's my prediction.
Jerome?
Yeah, I'm sticking around. I'm going to stick with the 10 or 11 point differential here. I'm going to go 27-16 Birds. Sticking with that. Player of the game, sticking with my guy I mentioned early in the show. I think Greg Ward has a big game here. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him. I'm going to say Greg Ward's going to have somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 7 catches, 87 yards, and 2 TDs.
Greg Ward beat. Rye, give me yours.
I'm going to go 24-19 with a late touchdown from Washington. So it's going to be a little bit more spread out than that. It's just a late touchdown to bring it within 5. And then my player of the game, I'm going Arcega-Whiteside. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns.
Love it.
Wow. You took the sleeper for the player of the game. I like it.
I can't. Yeah, because I didn't want to double. I said Maddox for my sleeper. I didn't want to double dip, so I went offense defense. Yeah.
I took.
Yeah, I had to pick Hill because I picked Arthega. I was like, son of a bitch.
What do you got, Dad?
I don't remember. I don't even know what the hell I had last night because they're all running together. I don't even know where I was. I might have been.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing you had on Wednesday was Miles, so that was no.
Mike agrees with me.
No, I'm more talking score. I don't even know where I was yesterday, and now,
you had 30 plus. You had like 32 or something last night.
I'm gonna say 28-17 Eagles. Yeah. 28-17. If I had them in the 30s last night, they're a little down off of that number, but they still should be able to put up points tomorrow. A bad secondary, which is what you expect to throw a lot. A lot of good names mentioned. I'm just going to go. I mean, I would love to say Carson would be it, and I believe he will be. But I'm going to go. I don't want to use the same. Nobody said Deshaun, right?
Nope.
Yeah, so I'll go with the other wideout then because I think he has a big game. And we talked about earlier how he loves to burn his former team. So here's an opportunity for him again. And we saw what he did, in the second half last year. In his limited game activity, what he was able to do. So I'm excited to have him back. He claims he feels 5 years younger. So let's see it. And great time to see it would be tomorrow, boys. So fun little throw together show we had. Thanks for jumping on, all you guys.
Tristan did ask if Corey Clement was hurt. No, Corey Clement is expected to play tomorrow. He's fine.
Yeah,
he was full practice participant. He was not on the injury list. So.
Maybe he was a full participant. Yeah, I mean, you'd almost rather have him on the report. You know what I mean? So you can find somebody else.
I don't disagree with you, man. I'm with you.
I ain't that dude. I'm not wishing injury. So everybody, 2020, don't take it like that. Yeah. And I'd rather him just be on the report. Nothing major. Just say time to move on. Like on the report, just time to move on. Now I do believe he still
I'd love to see him have a big game.
He still has a skill set out of the backfield. I just don't know how good of a running back he is. So that I know he's a good pass blocker on third downs. He was really good with that in 2017, guys. I don't want to take away from Jimmy's going. I saw him shake his head. I don't want to take away from that because he really was a good run blocker. I mean, pass blocker.
Well, we're gonna need that tomorrow. So we need for him to play well tomorrow and be able to give us that aspect because if we have issues on the offensive line, we're gonna need that second level of protection for Carson.
Oh, big time. So everybody out there, listen, enjoy yourself tomorrow with not only the Eagles but all the NFL on, and we got a little taste of some football today too, with college football being backish. But still got a little taste of it today. So, Big Mama ain't having it. She ain't having it, Ted.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all seen it. Asante Samuel Jr. had a big pick today too.
Where's he at?
I forget where he's playing. I think they were playing Florida State though. I think that's who he is playing with, Florida State.
Florida State. Okay, that makes sense. I figured it was a Florida school. It's because I wasn't Asante. Wasn't he like?
I think he was a Florida school, but it wasn't Florida State. It wasn't a big school.
It wasn't a big school, but he was a Florida guy, right?
Yeah.
Or freaking like Florida A&T, or like I feel like he was like
that, I think it's something like that.
The typical Bill finding, typical Bill Belichick finding. You know what I mean? Asante Samuel. All he did was all he did was find the football found his hands. That's all he did.
Yeah.
Gambler, but it paid off. So stay tuned. 10:30 in this very ring coming up. Andy, Chrome, Butters. Anybody else? Oh, Rise producing.
I think that's it.
That's it tonight? All right. Well, we'll wait for Jimmy to come back. We'll say goodbye so he's on the screen. And
Julio, go back and watch it, brother. He said great show, but he only caught 5 minutes of us.
Hey, brother.
Replay.
That's right. You can go back, catch our streams. They don't go anywhere. They live on.
They're right here. We'll have Jimmy back. Jimmy.
Dude,
love you, brother.
Beating the hell after a victorious win, I'm beating the hell out of my internet people. I've had enough, dude. I'm seriously pissed off right now. Sorry to everyone.
Central Florida. Thanks, Philly guy. Central Florida. We were right there, weren't we?
That was it.
We were circling. Julio said Central Florida. And then Jock talking FSU. He must be talking about his son, what Steve was talking about. He has to be probably FSU for his son. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
what does Don say before we go? Great show, fellas. DeAndre Swift, 100+ yards. I don't disagree. I would have taken DeAndre Swift over Jalen Reagor, but that's neither here nor there. Now Jalen's on my team. Let's go eat, right? I mean, DeAndre Swift will look good. I'm sorry. How would J.K. Dobbins look good tomorrow?
JK. I almost said it earlier.
Would our confidence be a little higher? Just asking for a fan base. I don't know.
Much higher than a second quarterback.
Yep. And now the second
While
quarterback.
running backs are. Or Devontae Freeman, like we've talked about for months. I don't know.
We better hope the second quarterback doesn't see the field tomorrow, because then it means we're in trouble. It means something happened. Okay? So it's not going wood. All right? Pray for good things. Good thoughts tonight. All right? Visualize great things, family. Visualize being great tomorrow. Let's go. Thanks for joining us. All right? And again, stay tuned. In this very ring coming up right up at 10:30. So you got 14 minutes away. For Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, Michael Chromiak, Jimmy Smith, Steve Reichel, the family out there, we love you. Thanks for joining us. Go Birds. Fly Eagles fly. Throw a lot of money around tomorrow on football. Enjoy yourself. Use some of the stimulus money. See if you can double up tomorrow. All right? And if you don't double up week 1, don't go chasing it week 2, because you won't come back from it. Okay? So you just stay right there. But ton of fun. Thank you to our doc, as always, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Phillies, big one tonight. Every game's important now. 12-6 win tonight over the Marlins. Every game's important. Michael Black, for any of your A2D gear, PhillyDrinkers.com you can go to, and they got all your A2D gear. Like, I mean, dude, we must got like 60 things up there. I don't even know. It's like,
Yeah, I just took care of it. I commented on the post. There we go.
there we go. PhillyDrinkers.com/A2D radio takes you right there. So, Michael, you see it. Giddy up and go. Boys, ton of fun. Go Birds. And just enjoy yourselves tomorrow. Football is back.